Once there was a day that we made field goals. Once there was a day we beat Mahomes. We thought that Zac was a good coach. So now he lives beyond reproach. Golden memories keep us fooled. Pain awaits us, this is cruel. Stop watching football, let it go. Though I enjoy the Burrow show. Once there was a day that we could tackle. Once there was a day that you had bait. Sleep, little Bengals, do not try. And let us kiss this year goodbye. Welcome to the #1 Bengals podcast.
That's right.
And
the stylings
yes,
of the one and only Daddy-O Sinatra McDuke.
yes. And here's the thing. We are all so sad to see the Bengals at 4-7 on the bye.
Yeah.
Not the way to go on the bye.
No.
And we also have John Double Brain Sheeran on the bye,
Yeah.
which means no game to
Bye-bye.
talk about. Yeah, bye-bye to the analysis on this show.
Yeah.
Don't expect a lot. But, Dr. Hoji,
Yeah.
I want to talk about Joe Burrow
I do too.
because this is a very patient man, a very resilient man, very talented man. And so he went out there on Sunday night against the Los Angeles Chargers,
Yeah.
and he brought them back from 24-6. He threw touchdowns to T. Higgins, a couple to Ja'Marr Chase.
Which was amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody who was watching that game when they were down, when it was 24-6, pretty much thought Bengals out.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow makes the comeback.
Joe Burrow makes the comeback.
Amazing passes, amazing throws, amazing connections.
Amazing. By the way, the defense played well for all but basically the last drive of the second half. They played pretty well, which was very
The Bengals
strange.
defense?
The Bengals defense. They kept them to like 3 points until that last drive.
Okay.
In the second half. Yeah.
Okay, let's stick with that narrative because I think that the reason you got to 24-6, one of them was the failings of the defense.
Oh, no. First half. I'm saying second half.
Second half, yeah.
Second half,
Yeah.
they stepped up. But yeah,
Okay.
Joe Burrow. It was basically like that Chiefs AFC Championship game. The first half, defense was terrible. Offense
Yeah.
couldn't get going. Second half, exact opposites.
Exact opposite.
Except the last drive, which was a mess.
Yeah.
But everybody saw the clip of Joe Burrow very sadly walking off the field. He looked dejected. And after the game, he had some comments. They asked him about Evan McPherson. And he wasn't happy. I mean, he said, here's what he said.
Joe, what do you say to Evan after he misses those 2 field goals there at the end?
John, how do you explain the way this season has gone, where it feels like we've been in this spot after so many games, they've all felt one play away, like you've made so many winning plays. Are you able to explain it? How do you explain it?
Just gotta make the plays. Just gotta make the plays. We haven't down the stretch, and we're not, a good enough team to. Our margin of error is slim, so we gotta make those plays. I gotta make those plays. We all gotta make those plays.
What I'm hearing here, first he said Evan, and he said nothing. I have nothing to say to him.
Not really. He didn't say quite nothing.
But
He said, that's the thing
he
about.
said the word nothing. He said,
Yeah.
what would you say to Evan? He said nothing.
Nothing.
And by the way, everybody says a football team is like a marriage. You're married to every person on the football team individually.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. when you are in a marriage and you stop fighting and stop yelling,
Yeah.
that's when you're in trouble. When you say nothing, 'cause
Yeah.
you don't care. They can't
Yeah.
hurt you anymore. Evan McPherson cannot hurt Joe Burrow anymore.
That's pretty insightful. I didn't expect
you.
that, Adu, yeah. I think what Joe Burrow's realizing is, see, Joe Burrow's a young man, and a lot of our fans, look, if you're new to the Cincinnati Bengals, if you came aboard this train, let's say after 2019, 2020, welcome to you. Happy to have you on board. We love all the Bengals fans. I like going all across the USA, seeing people wearing the orange and black. But if you're a new Bengals fan, there's something that you might not realize, and I think Joe Burrow is realizing it. The Bengals might sometimes be a good team, but they will not be in the near future, maybe ever, a good franchise. And they've never been one, ever.
That's a great. I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a similar thought, which was this: the Bengals can seem good,
Yeah.
but there's one part that's good and a lot of parts that are bad.
There you go. And
It's
that's
just
what I was
like-
going to say.
yeah.
That's what I was going to say. The core is rotten. So, for example, if you go back to the Super Bowl win, right? The Super Bowl loss, the year we went to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the year that Joe Burrow got sacked like so many times. The man couldn't count. He just, by sheer will, he just pulled through, and the defense was really good. And then you go to the next year, and you're like, oh, well, wait a minute, now what's the problem going to be? Well, slowly the problem starts to be the defense, and they start to pull players out. And we know why, by the way. Everybody knows what the problem is. The problem is the ownership. The problem is the management, because they keep taking away the key critical players. Once the team resolves an issue, like right now, the offensive line is starting to look good. So what they're going to do is there's going to be some stars that arise. They're going to want money. Management's not going to pay them, and now offensive line is a problem all again.
Yeah.
And it's a cycle.
Yeah,
It's a cycle.
I was thinking, yeah, exactly. It's a cycle, but it's also, okay, if you have a cheap franchise,
Yeah.
right? A cheap business. A
Cheap
business that
business.
doesn't want to pay people.
Yeah.
You might end up with a couple of good employees here or there. Maybe a good manager comes in and out. That's just the probability, right? It's going to happen on accident. But it's not going to be a good business because you haven't invested, a start to finish. You haven't invested throughout the company, right? So the Bengals, for instance, when they had Marvin Lewis, they had Andy Dalton. I think Marvin Lewis is a solid head coach, but, he had limitations, let's say, offensively. And he had no support free agency-wise, right? And you had Andy Dalton, who was an okay starter overall, but he couldn't win in the clutch. And so he had all these, that's when he had that. Now you have Zac Taylor, who is not I don't think an X's and O's sound coach the way that the Marvin Lewis was, let's say, defensively. He doesn't have that. But you have a Joe Burrow. And, it's like, so now this, like you were saying, this part's good, that part's bad. And it's just always going to be like this. And that Super Bowl run was such a weird coincidence of different things happening together.
Yeah.
That it's not likely to happen again. But I will say that Joe Burrow, in that clip, he was saying, we got to make plays. We just got to make plays. I got to make plays. They got to make plays. The problem is we're not making plays. There is some sort of secret message that he's trying to send us about plays. If you think about it. Well, I think so. He's talking about, think about it, all the different issues, and he's boiling it down to plays. And who makes the plays? The players. Okay. And so what he's saying is, I don't like the guys around me.
I don't think
I feel like that's what he's saying.
No.
But Joe Burrow, look, they asked him outright, is this the most frustrating season ever? He said, yes. Here, let's watch the clip of this one. Let's watch the clip.
This has been the most frustrating season you've ever had.
Yeah,
Why?
pretty self-explanatory.
That is a depressed man.
Yeah.
Pretty self-explanatory. He's not happy.
No.
And so
No, he's not, and you can tell it when you see him on the sidelines. He looks deflated. He looks defeated.
Yeah.
And I really don't know. The problem is here's what's going to happen. Okay, people are going to start calling for Zac Taylor's resignation,
Yes.
and that's fine. Have Zac Taylor resign. It's the right thing to do. I love Coach Zac, but any responsible team can't keep a coach with this kind of record and with this kind of season. Zach he wasn't the real core of the reason they were winning, though he did a good job, and he's not really the core reason that they're losing. You get rid of him. You get rid of him.
I don't think it fixes the problem, no.
It's not going to fix the problem.
No.
And they're not going to bring. I was reading the Bengals wire, and there was like they said here's a list of 6 possible coaches, and I was like, oh, this guy's great, this guy's great, this guy's great. The Bengals are not going to get a single one of them.
No.
They're going to bring in some guy you've never heard of.
Yeah.
He's gonna come in probably like in an old RV that is shooting poop out its windpipe, and then he's gonna come and he's gonna just say he has a bunch of great ideas, and he'll have he might have a winning season, give you hope, and then ta-da, you're back to where you were.
He gets a new RV and he's out.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Yes, I was telling you actually before the show we were chatting. I don't think Joe Burrow wants Zac Taylor gone. Knowing what we know about Joe Burrow, he is a meats and potatoes type of guy. He's like he's like, look, defense is giving up plays. They're not tackling. We need to improve the defense. Offensive line is not blocking. But like he's like the offensive strategy, like the play calling. Nah, I got that. Don't worry about that. I take care of that. I just want big beefy guys to hit people the right way. That's what my take on Joe Burrow is that he said he's very happy with the situation in Cincinnati. He's very happy with Zac Taylor. He said all this before. And I think this was like maybe a year or two ago. Not that long.
Well, that's a long time ago.
Well,
I mean, Joe Burrow in November of 2024, honestly, is nothing like the Joe Burrow we saw last year. This is a man who's really on the edge of losing all hope. He's giving me Andrew Luck vibes. He really is.
I think...
And the problem was he put in so much enthusiasm and hope and even his body on the line for this team. And what management showed him is, oh, hey, cash machine, thank you for raising our ticket sales revenues and bringing people back to the Bengals. Thank you, cash machine. I will take this cash and I'll spend it on becoming the wealthiest. I mean, we know the Brown family was named one of the wealthiest.
Spend it, yeah.
Yeah, they're named one of the wealthiest families in America. Well, of course you are. You're not spending and maintaining this team.
No.
And no one can make them do it. That's what bothers me.
Well, no. But by the way, congratulations to Mr. Mike Brown. We're actually contractually obliged to play that whenever we mention his name. Yeah. But here's the thing. Elise Jesse, the journalist who was on the show, friend of the show. A couple of times on the show. And she made a video.
Great video.
Great video. She said, look, guys.
She was looking at the camera.
Yeah, she was looking at the camera. And she said, guys. She didn't say Daddy on Hoji, but we know who she meant.
It was directed to you and me.
She wanted the word to get out there. And she didn't think Sports Illustrated is the best platform. She sent the video to us on Twitter.
On Twitter, yeah.
And she said, guys, you think that you're going to see change? No, you're not going to see change. The last time you saw change, it was because it was, Andy Dalton and they were losing and the stands were empty. No one was attending the game. Well, guess what?
I don't know if people remember, but Andy Dalton and I think a few other Bengals went to a Reds game.
Yeah.
I think they threw garbage at them.
Well, but after that, so the end of the Andy Dalton era, right? When the Bengals were basically hopeless. Yeah. And that's when they fired Marvin Lewis. It was Andy Dalton was very bad, because the offensive line was very bad. We know he's the exact same quarterback he was, in 2015. It's just the offensive line was great then.
Right.
And really, who wants to see Andy Dalton and the team score like 17 points and a stink on it? But of course, we're going to pay money to watch Joe Burrow throw to Ja'Marr Chase and put up 30 points a game.
Yeah, as Jesse said, exactly. It's an entertainment.
It's entertainment. And
at the end of the day.
Everybody, it's going to be something where, you could look back and say, hey, I got to see Joe Burrow play live, So she's right. That's why we're not going to see change this time. Yeah.
I mean, unless there's some kind of mass movement of people saying, look, we're not going to buy the tickets anymore until, let's say, the Bengals bring in a GM or the Bengals do something drastic. Or there's like marches in Cincinnati or something like that. And that's not going to happen because Cincinnati people, I love you people. You people welcomed me to this country when I came here on a raft. Daddy and I came here literally on a raft. And when I came here on this raft, it was welcomed with open arms, first in New York and then in Cincinnati. And I love you people, but I will tell you this about you people. If you don't know this about you people, you are not revolutionaries. You are not the type of people to go in the street.
Too nice.
Too nice.
Wouldn't survive a day in our country.
No, not where.
No.
You know, in our country, you have to fight to get across the street, but that's a different story.
That's a different story, but
Well, go ahead.
Speaking of the fact, look, people are spending their money.
They are.
On Bengals games and on Bengals merchandise. And that brings me to the fact that...
Okay.
Yeah, so if you like seeing Joe Burrow, you like his helmets, you like the way he looks in his helmet, you can spend $670 plus a discount. The discount is when you use Bengals1, the code Bengals1, you get a massive discount.
But we're not allowed to see how massive it is.
No, but massive, we all know what that means.
Yeah.
And you can get the mini helmet only $35. And by the way, this is by the company that makes the real bumpers and the stickers.
By the way, 5-star review for these helmets.
And nephews.
There's 2 of them, but they're 5 stars.
Right. So look, there's the thing, is that at least Jesse's right. You guys are going to keep buying this stuff. So why not buy it and support the show? You can get this $10 plastic one.
Yeah. And the holidays are coming up. You obviously have a nephew. Everybody's got a nephew. And every nephew loves greengridiron.com helmets.
Look, economy is bad right now. So maybe you just want to get the warning decal, $1.50. Also gets a discount with Bengals1. And like we said, you can put it anywhere you want.
Yeah. Warn people. Let people know, hey, who they, man. So let's get back to the task at hand, which is that I asked a question on Twitter. You're not going to fix the Bengals. No. You're not going to fix the Bengals.
No.
But could we at least fix Evan McPherson?
No.
And I asked the question on Twitter, and Daddy, you answered, you gave a theory. I'm hoping the fans or whoever's watching could help us figure it out.
Yeah,
so the question I asked is this. What on earth happened to Evan McPherson? I've asked this week after week.
Right.
He used to be great.
But
now he's not even competent.
Well, he was great his rookie year. Do you know what happened the offseason of his rookie year?
Tell me.
He got married.
Yeah.
And you know what happens when you get married?
You get complacent?
No, you can get a little fat.
You get a little fat. Yeah.
But no, what happens is
you get a divorce.
No, your feet begin to shrink.
Shrink.
Yeah.
Why?
It's an evolutionary feature because you no longer have to run around searching for mates. You don't need your feet. And you don't need your feet as much. You need them for fewer activities.
Wow.
Less walking.
Yeah.
And so for kickers, it's that's why the best kickers, they don't get married until they retire.
And so do the feet just keep shrinking until you have little knobs, or?
I haven't ever looked.
So if we were to play out this theory, all these great kickers in the NFL are unmarried. They're bachelors, just swinging around.
Yeah.
Going at night. Okay.
I'm guessing Justin Tucker recently got married because he just started declining.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's what happened to him.
I wonder, as much as I respect your theory, and I do, I wonder if there are other theories.
Well, here's another theory. So he sat at halftime of the Super Bowl. Do you remember that? He sat and watched the halftime show.
Okay. And it was Snoop Dogg.
It was a Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
And then Darren Simmons chewed him out. He was very angry at him. And he's been bad ever since. So
because Darren Simmons chewed him out?
I think his feelings were hurt.
So there was a theory that was, and not to dismiss your wonderful theories.
Please.
There was a theory on Twitter that maybe it's the guy holding the ball.
See, that is more of a, I want to say, too obvious theory.
But I don't think that could be it. I mean, if that's it, why wouldn't the Bengals just fix that problem?
Well, because you would have to give that new holder a salary. But if you use the punter, you double down, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you make, if you have the secretary also be, take x-rays for you. It's for, doctor's office, right?
I tell you what.
I mean, they could look at the x-rays. It's pretty close to secretarial work.
Yeah. I tell you what, if they cut Evan McPherson or trade him, I promise you one thing. He's going to pull a Joe Mixon on you. He's going to go to another team. He's going to be kicking 80-yarders. That's just how the Bengals always are.
That's the thing about Joe Mixon. Every time I watched him run, I was like, this guy physically is very talented.
Yeah.
He's physically very talented. He's very tall for a running back. He's pretty tall. He's long, I should say. He has
And
great
why
burst.
should you say that? Because tall is a more normal thing that people would say to describe another human being.
Well,
He's not
I
a
don't
snake.
know. I don't know how. No, I don't know how tall he is. But what I mean is, when you watch him run, like he has like a long neck and he runs upright, so he looks tall for a running back, right? He looks like a receiver when he's on the field.
Right.
Right.
And he was a good receiver too.
He was,
I mean,
he was
like
yeah,
a
he's
receiving
pretty good.
running back.
Yeah, he's pretty good. But it just was, the holes weren't there. He was running into crowds and all that kind of stuff. And it seems like a lot of it is schematic, a lot of it is blocking. But it is, he's in a better place right now. He's been in a place. And we have Victoria Mitchell is talking about Evan McPherson. She's saying he's quiet quitting. He just got his contract, right? He's getting a lot of money.
Victoria,
And she
the
says-
show goes live.
Yeah.
So
And
if you're
she says,
saying
"I
on
do
the
it
air
all
that
the
you're
time."
quiet quitting, I mean, everybody now is going to know that Victoria Mitchell is quiet quitting.
Right. But they don't know which Victoria. Victoria Mitchell, if you want to make your comment complete, if you could put your city and place of work.
Social.
No, we don't need the social. Just the place of work, maybe a LinkedIn profile link, and we can make sure that your comment reaches its intended audience.
So, but, here's the real deal. I like Victoria's point about the
do
quiet
too.
quitting.
Yeah.
I think that it's possible that that's what's going on with Evan. I guess. I don't know. I mean, but I want to go back to the Joe Mixon comment.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, if you say that the problem with Joe and why he's good now and he wasn't good on the Bengals has something to do with the offensive line coordinator, Frank Pollock, I submit to you that Joe Mixon was the number one advocate for bringing Frank back. He was the one who wanted Pollock back.
I think
So
Pollock's
either-
okay. That's a good point. I think
Either Joe
Pollock-
wants, either Joe doesn't understand what
No.
he needs.
Well, Joe had Pollock his second year, I believe, in the league. It was his best year before this year.
Before this year.
Yeah, he had a very good year with Pollock. And he was a little better, I think, I'm not sure, when they got Pollock back. I think so. But he had good experience with Pollock. But Pollock, he needs his guys. And the Bengals, you remember, we literally lost 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Because of the offensive line. And so then they finally we're going to make a bigger splash. Let us get Alex, Kappa and Ted Karras and a broken down Lyle Collins. And those 3 combined, their salary was like $15 million a year or something. And it's
Yeah.
we spent so much money. No, you didn't. You didn't get one good. But it's like we fixed the interior of the offensive line. Let's say they had Cordell Volson they drafted, and then the right side was supposed to be Lyle Collins, who I don't even know if he ever played a game. But the point is, they never actually invested in the offensive line until they got Orlando Brown last year.
Right.
And Frank Pollock had success with good offensive lines. And yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put a positive note. Let's imagine ownership is going to stay what it is. And let's imagine that, the Browns and all that, they're going to stay in charge of things. What can we as fans do? What can the Bengals do to at least get better?
Yeah.
Where do they begin? Is it getting rid of
This year.
Dan Pitcher? Is
This
it
year
getting
or
rid
no?
of Zac Taylor?
No,
this
Dan
year
Pitcher
and
is
next
the
year?
star. Dan Pitcher, actually, Ja'Marr Chase came out and said Dan Pitcher moving him around the field is why he's having his best year ever. Dan Pitcher's doing a good job. Yeah.
Dan Pitcher's doing a good job. So you
And
don't
he's
get
doing
rid
a
of
good
him.
job.
You get rid of
I
Lou?
think you promote him. He has to be the play caller, because if Zach's going to be the coach, like Zach made a mistake last game, and Tony Pike pointed it out, which was they wasted the down. When there was 1 minute left in the game, second down,
Yeah.
They had Ja'Marr Chase off the field. And when they ran a play, they were running out of time. They rushed the play, and it was a wasted play. They should have, he said, called timeout, got Ja'Marr back on the field. It's very important. They ended up punting with a minute left, and the Chargers went down the field and scored the touchdown. But Zac Taylor needs someone to
And they
call
also
up.
didn't go for it on fourth.
Yeah. But Zac Taylor needs somebody to take a little bit off his plate so he can focus on, just being the cute, players coach. Like, hey, guys, I love you guys. You're so good. Just kind of like, he's more like the PR side of the coaching and stuff.
That's how you see it. But even if you think about the word coaching, like, what is a coach?
Yeah,
what
a
does
coach. Like, what does a coach
do?
do? He just says inspirational stuff in your ear. Yeah, he's good at
Well,
that.
he coaches. That's what coaching is.
I don't know. I don't know. But whatever he wants to do,
He's
he can
not.
do it.
He's not. They're not generals.
We just want him to do less of whatever he's doing. And so I think you let pitcher...
Here's another question.
Yeah.
Is Lou the problem?
I think Lou is
And
a
Arumo.
guy. I think, here's the thing. When they benched Cam Taylor-Britt and they put in Josh Newton,
Yeah.
that's that second half when we saw that all of a sudden they shut down the Chargers. And Josh Newton isn't some sort of lockdown quarter. Maybe he is. We'll see. But the point is, Lou Anarumo cannot be good if he doesn't have a good secondary. And so Cam Taylor-Britt's having a horrendous year. He's been terrible this year. I mean, everybody knows it. Even the coaches, now even Zach was like, we need the consistency. That means he's terrible. And so the fact of the matter is that Lou Anarumo is a defense, the engine of his defense is always the secondary. If they fix the secondary, Lou is a top coach. If the secondary is terrible, Lou is a bad coach. That's my
Well, how do they? They're not going to fix the secondary this year.
I don't know.
How can?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, not this year. Oh, this year, yeah. I think Josh Newton, maybe he's good enough. But they lost DJ Turner for the year. But maybe Josh Newton helps. I don't know.
I mean, Goodberry. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Goodberry was saying that Lou was never a good coach. That even when the Bengals had a top 5 defense in personnel, he was only able to make them a top 15 defense in performance. Now,
well, all respect to Joe Goodberry.
Yeah. I was going to disagree with him too. Go ahead.
I don't think they've ever been a top 5 in personnel. He said that?
Well, he did, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I made that part up. But he said they had really good personnel, but they were only top 15. I do.
Oh,
that.
yeah. I don't know if they've ever been top.
I mean, that's
5
you remember. Well, I mean,
we're
Jesse
talking
Bates.
about Jesse Bates is so good.
Bates was so good.
Jesse Bates, he elevates the entire defense.
But wait a minute, let's do a roll call. Because the last time we had Jesse Bates, we had other people too.
I mean, the other people were the same people we have now for the most part. They were just playing better.
No.
We had Trey,
Hold on.
we had Jermaine Pratt, we had Logan Wilson, we had BJ Hill,
Okay.
we had Mike Hilton,
Okay.
right?
We had a few others too.
Oh, we had So we had Chidobe, who was
Yeah.
playing well, and we had Eli Apple, who had a decent season.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of guys that were different, but it was mostly the same defense. I really think it's losing Jesse Bates is why the whole defense fell apart. We talked about it before. But speaking of falling apart, we actually, in addition to this show, we have iTunes. You can go to iTunes. We only have 36 5-star. I like the 5-star part. But leave us more reviews. You can find all our podcasts over there. And you can also, by the way, you can go to our Patreon.
Yeah.
And you can see the link there. And all of the songs, including the one that we just sang right now, they're all on the Patreon.
Yeah.
You can check those out, and absolutely free. You can even download them, 100% free when you
100%.
become a paid subscriber on Patreon.
And a lot of people have been asking about that. Well, exactly how is that free if I have to pay?
Yeah.
And
it's like, it's hard to, I know. It's, I had the same problem at first. It's like, is that free? Yes, it's free.
It is
right?
free. Technically,
like
it's free.
If you get the ticket to Kings Island, guess what? Everything in Kings Island is now free.
Right.
You can go on any of the rides for free.
Yes.
That's what this is.
It's like you order a meal at a restaurant. The
Right.
ingredients of your food are free.
Yeah, you order a meal, and you can eat this side of that side, all of it.
All of those ingredients are free.
Are free.
You
And that's what this is.
you stay at a 5-star hotel. Toilet paper free.
Free. Water. Like, what's my water bill? Don't worry about the water bill. Go. What? No, what? Yeah,
Free.
go. Yeah, free.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't think I have anything else to promote, so we can just.
Well,
end
why
the
don't
show.
we tell?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a bye coming up,
Yeah.
and then what? Do you know?
Yeah. After that, we play the Cowboys
Oh, jeez.
on the Simpsons channel. We're going to play with the Simpsons. They have like cartoons. That's what they think of us and the Cowboys now. We're just a joke, I guess.
Why not?
So, yeah. So we have the Cowboys, yeah.
I have one last suggestion
Yeah.
for those who are watching. There is a YouTube comment section.
Yes.
I would like for you are the doctor, the Bengals are the sick patient.
Right.
Write your prescription in the comment section. Tell Dr.
yeah.
Hoji, because I have the ear of Mike Brown and the Cincinnati Bengals. They listen to us. They watch the show. We know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, they call us, which is they really odd. They call us the puppets.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
That-
That
and it's
behind
like-
our backs, they call us.
Yeah. Because what we say is so positive about the team and Mike Brown.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of nastiest stuff I want to say about Mike Brown.
Yeah.
I don't say it. on the
No,
show.
you've
I
really
don't
held
say it.
back.
I really hold back.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're veiled by passive aggression.
Yes.
Yeah.
But really, I want in the comments, I want you to tell, are the Bengals going to figure it out on the bye or not? Because I don't think they're going to figure it out. Because they're 4-7, I don't think they're going to figure it out. I think
Okay,
after
now we
the
have
bye,
two topics for the comments. Okay.
yeah. Well, I thought that's what you were saying. But I don't think they're going to figure it out. I think they win 5 or 6 games and sneak into the playoffs. But they will not
Really?
figure
You
it
do
out.
think
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, they're not going to figure it out.
You think that the Bengals are still going to make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we wager a bet? I don't
No.
think they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean,
If they if they don't make the playoffs,
right.
we rename the show Hoji's #1 Bengals podcast.
Yeah, I'll just
If
leave-
they do win the playoffs, you get to keep the name the #1 Bengals podcast. Do we have a deal?
we have. I'll just yes, the hoodie will be implied.
No.
Never-
I want it up on the banner. I want it everywhere.
Legally, I can't do that. So I have a contract with Believe that we have signed, and the Believe people are. You don't want to. Miss
Okay,
it.
fine. You just on one show, after they don't make the playoffs, the next
Right,
show,
right.
you don't change the name of the show officially,
No.
but you have a sign that just says Hoji's #1 Bengals podcast, just as a mark of
Yeah.
that Hoji was right.
Well,
He didn't.
unfortunately, the fool is not in the chat, so we don't have the money for that. We don't have the donation. We need a donation for that sign.
I'm sure if
Once we
Ceiling
get-
Cat were here, they would come out of that ceiling
Yeah.
and he would tell you what a great idea this is. But Ceiling Cat's
I'm sure it's a
not here
great
either.
idea. But so I'm saying, to be clear, they will not figure it out and they will go on a run. And when I say figure it out, obviously, what I mean is on the bye, a lot of people tend to let their figure go and they get fat and they let it go and they they start shooting fat out.
Their
from the
figure
sides.
won't get
Yeah.
out of proportion.
No. Yeah. So they're gonna stay in shape on the bye, and they're gonna come back and beat the that team, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
That's my prediction. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I guess that is all we have for this show, and no Dr. or Double John Brain,
Yeah.
and but it's okay. I think we did okay, Hoji. I think that
We did, but if we keep doing this, I need to get paid more.
Yeah, well, I'm ending it right now, just in time. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and subscribe on iTunes as well, and leave a comment about what Dr. Hoji said. We will see you next time. So long, sweetie.